that? Oh God, I'm gonna die. I gotta get this on camera. No. Hey everybody, welcome to the Marino Show. I'm your host, David Marino, and today I'm welcoming back filmmaker and actor Ronald Short. Ronald is based in Austin, and he has a new series he's about to premiere called Teegan and His Bros, which I'm really excited about. The last time he was on the show, we talked about that. He also has a number of other films that he's made, including The Rink, Body, Breaking and Entering, Good Feels on Wheels, Billi and Theodore, and several others. But Ronald, thank you so much for coming back on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me back. I love the show, so I'm excited to be here again.
Well, I love following your Instagram channel because you're always posting clips of you talking about different things, whether it's movie related, life related, and I love that. And I happened to stumble across your post for Teegan and His Bros, which last time you talked a little about it, but tell everybody what the premise is of the series that you're going to be premiering.
Yeah, so if you know me, I along with the horror side of myself, I love comedy, and comedy is a big part of who I am. And Teegan and His Bros is a stoner comedy about two kind of lovable loser stoners who adopt a cat who is also a lovable loser stoner. So the cat is a puppet, very much in line with Jim Henson's work and the Muppets. I got him here. Would you like to see him? Would you like to meet Teegan?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So this is the star, along with Michael Vera and Nathan Minger. There are two stoner bros. This is Teegan. He is a cat. You can see from his ears in the top. He has a hat and a T-shirt. He does wear clothes, and in the series, he does talk. He's got a voice like this, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. But so he loves weed. He loves hanging out with his bros, and he very much acts like an actual cat some of the time. So that's where a lot of the humor comes from, because me and my wife adopted 3 cats last year, and we've had cats before, and it's always nice to remember what cats are like. So he's very much a normal cat, but with like he can talk and everything, but they still have to take care of him. So that's the kind of yeah.
I love that it's a cat because, like you said, cats have their personality is they kind of don't care if you like them or not. They have to like you.
Exactly.
Everything's on their terms.
Yeah.
And that obviously makes for a funny character. You know, I did see on your Instagram. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I just said I hope so.
You know, I saw on your Instagram that you said you're a puppeteer, right? So are you the one that's going to be doing the voice for him and all of that? Are you kind of the puppeteer for this show then?
Yes, I am. I have been trying to be a better puppeteer. I don't have any formal training, but I've studied the ways of Henson. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I follow a lot of puppeteers, and I've been practicing for a minute, doing some kind of like test footage and everything. So yeah, I was the voice and the guy for Teegan. I performed him on set. So the way I made it easier on myself for this particular project is that I made the focus more on the two guys. So Teegan's in the show, but a lot of the comedy comes from them reacting to him. So I got to direct them, and then we would flip the camera and I would be Teegan. So it didn't really affect my directing that much. I tried to work with it so that I could be directing and focusing on the actors, and then when I needed a puppeteer, sometimes it's a mix, but I tried to break it up. Excuse me.
So because this is a series, that's obviously multiple episodes. What is your plan for the show? Is this like a limited series? When do you plan to try to premiere it? And what platforms are you hoping to get Teegan and His Bros out to the world on?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a lot of ideas. We come from a place of make the thing, and hopefully we can figure out what to do with it. And we've got ideas of like maybe selling the episodes like for 99 cents or something, and maybe funding more, doing a Patreon. I'm not sure what platform will work best for that. But we're looking into that, and we're kind of right now we're kind of submitting to some festivals that are focused on television and web series, and maybe hopefully using that as a bounding point to something else. But if nothing else, this is like a proof of concept that we will be releasing. Everyone will get to see it. It's 4 episodes. Each one is about 5 minutes, so it could be like an Adult Swim kind of thing, or it could be just a YouTube show. Who knows? But it's a proof of concept. We're hoping people like it, and we get to make more in some way. That's kind of the goal.
So you said that you kind of are inspired by Jim Henson, the Muppets. What is it about puppetry that intrigued you or has always intrigued you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like puppets so much because it's a practical thing that you're looking at. And this is in horror too. Like me and my wife watched Gremlins last night. Gremlins is one of my favorite Christmas movies. So and that's another inspiration for stuff like this, and Body, and like Chucky. Chucky's a huge inspiration for me. I just like the practical puppet and someone who is able to put their performance through this. I mean, this is basically a doll, a stuffed toy, you know. To be able to sell that is a real talent, and that's something I'm trying to work on, and that's something I really appreciate. So like Chucky as a character, I just believe he's a guy. That's a doll trying to kill those people. I never question it. Brad Dourif, the puppeteers, it all comes together to make something great. And yeah, I've just always appreciated the art form.
I also feel the same about like the Muppets. I grew up at a time when Kermit, Miss Piggy, all the Muppet movie. I had that soundtrack on vinyl, Rainbow Connection, all those things. And to me, even as a kid, even though there's a part of me that knows it's not real, they were so like captivating as characters that you almost did forget that you're watching like Muppets because they're so well defined. So with
Yes.
Teegan, I'm assuming as you're saying that's part of what you're hoping to accomplish is that people kind of get lost in this character and almost get to a point where they're not even viewing him as a puppet, but he's also just another character in this show.
Yes. That's exactly my goal. I think some of the best like old behind the scenes stuff or old clips from like talk shows are watching like Jim Henson or Frank Oz on like Johnny Carson, and they're just talking to Kermit or Fozzie. They're never talking to Jim Henson and Frank. They're talking to the puppet. So yeah, that's always the goal. If I ever get to do an interview with this guy, I hope it's just him and not me, because that would be fun. That'd just be fun to do. And then with that said, I think I am going to take him off because my arm's getting a little hot. Sorry, Teegan, but
Bye,
bye.
Teegan. That's so exciting, though. I'm really happy for you because I was looking forward to that show. Where did the inspiration come from for the stoners and you know was that personal experience or did
Uh,
you?
yeah, yes, very personal, very personal. A lot of some people call some of my films like stoner core because I very much feature cannabis and stoner characters. But yeah, very much my life living with cats, being a stoner. I imagine they sometimes enjoy the smoke in the air. I don't know, maybe they don't. But the two main guys are very much like a Cheech and Chong or like a Bill and Ted. I really imagine this world kind of cartoony. Like, are all the animals puppets? I'm not sure yet. Maybe we'll explore that in the future. Um, but it's like Bill and Ted, Cheech and Chong, Jim Henson, obviously. Broad City is a big inspiration. I just think they're hilarious. Um, and yeah, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared which is this crazy British puppet show that was started on YouTube and is now on the BBC, I believe. It's so good. If you haven't seen that, you should look it up. It's very horror adjacent. It's got a lot of horrific imagery, but it's hilarious as well.
I also think of I don't know if you've ever seen the stage show of Avenue Q.
Oh, yeah. I haven't actually seen the whole thing. I wish I had seen it during its run, but I've seen clips of it and it looks great.
Yeah, I like that kind of humor, and it's got that dark kind of humor, but it's
Yes,
hilarious because everybody can relate to it. So
absolutely.
I look forward to that coming out. Do you have a timeline, or right now you're just sort of feeling it out?
So they will be done in early January, but that's because we're submitting to a thing. I'm hoping to have like maybe a screening in Austin at some point. Stay tuned.
And, and in a similar vein, you know, Body. Last time we talked, that was kind of beginning its festival run, but it is now kind of getting towards the end of that run, right? Can you talk about Body, because that was a really good movie? And have you released it yet publicly? Because I remember you let me watch it, but I don't know if it's been released publicly yet.
Well, first off, thank you. I really appreciate that compliment. It is wrapping up its festival run. It isn't online officially. We will be releasing that early next year. It just depends on if we get yeses or nos from these last couple of festivals. So hopefully we get into those. People can see them where they're playing, and then we'll release after that. If not, it'll probably release in January or February.
And give the premise for that one again.
Yeah, yeah. So that the premise is a couple finds like a dancing, possibly possessed Frankenstein Halloween toy in their garage. They don't know where it came from, and yeah, they think it's possessed. So they get their cell phone trying to record it, trying to capture it, and it gets a little crazy.
Oh wow. That I remember watching it, and I loved the whole vibe of that movie. So I can't wait for people to be able to watch it, online, or however you decide that you're going to premiere it. But
Yeah, thank you.
something that you mentioned to me before we started the show, which you love horror, I love horror, but you are going to be working on a new horror film in 2025.
Yes, this is one I'm very excited about. It's going to be a micro short, which are always fun, but it's about a guy who is I haven't pitched it much, so sorry if I'm a little rusty. It's about a guy who's at a bonfire in the woods. He's drunk. He goes to the edge of the woods to take a piss. As he's peeing, he's absentmindedly starts to whistle, and something in the woods whistles back, and that's where we go from. That's where the horror starts to kick in. But we're gonna have a monster in it. It's a practical monster, which I'm very excited about. Again, kind of tying into puppetry. A real monster is going to be on set. We're going to see it. My friend Tommy Martin is going to be playing him. He's a tall mofo, so he gets to play a monster with us, and I'm very very excited. We're filming it in Indiana on my parents' farm, uh, which is uh, which is going to be cool. Going home for that. I'm originally from Avon, Indiana, on the west side of Indianapolis. And we're taking some crew from here, getting some people from Chicago to come down. Someone from Chicago is building our monster. And yeah, it's going to be hopefully 2 night and very successful shoot.
Are you a fan of creature features, like the old creature features from back in the
Oh,
day, like the 60s, 50s, Swamp Thing, all of that, all of that?
yes, I love them. I can't say that I've seen all of them. I don't want to say like I'm some kind of expert on the old school creature features, but I do love the ones I have seen. Yes, and like Godzilla, Godzilla's a big one for me, and the Muppets, like we said, and yeah.
What's your goal for that film? Once you get it done, I know it takes a while to post, production, editing, all of that stuff. Is that also going to be one that you put on the festival circuit as well?
Yeah, that one will be. We're going to try to get into some festivals with that. Uh, I do want to talk about how this one in particular was positioned to get made because it was a really cool opportunity we got through uh, Dark Red Film Festival in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. They were giving out raffle prizes, and my crew was lucky enough to win prizes for pre and post production, and it's really helping us get it made. Like, we're paying for some out of pocket, but a lot of it is going to be covered because of those prizes, and that's what inspired us to do it. I wrote it trying to fit in with, like, I kind of saw it as like a challenge almost. Like, I wrote it to be within the parameters that they set for the, because like we get a sound mix of up to 4 minutes. So I said, okay, I'll write a 4-page script. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do, is like use those things to make this as good as possible. And yeah, we got lucky with this one.
That's great because I don't go to a lot of like of those of the film festivals. I should. I'd love to. But the
Sure, yeah,
fact that they have that incentive or that you won this prize that actually helps you get your film made, because I feel like of all the, the directors I talk to or filmmakers on my show, they have ideas, but the hardest part, you see everybody out there hustling Indiegogo campaigns, just trying to get the
yeah,
funding, because it's a even for a short film, it's very expensive. I mean, it was my intro for my show, it costs to shoot that, and that was very
yeah,
short, but because there's so much work that goes into it, and you want to make sure that your filmmakers are getting paid, your actors are getting paid, and it's just hard. So I imagine that has got to be somewhat of a relief, right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's filmmaking is, like, I had a friend, DeRay, say filmmaking is a rich man's hobby, and it's very true. Like, it's really hard to do if you're not wealthy. But if you want to do it, there's ways to figure it out. And festivals like this, Dark Red, I haven't been to many festivals that do this. I highly recommend, if you're into horror and making horror, either attend or submit. They're great. And this is not the only reason. They're just great people, and they also do stuff like this to help it get made. So yeah, it's a huge help. Like I said, this kind of like spurred us to make a new thing. We took it as an opportunity to be like, okay, we've got some ideas. Let's make it happen.
So you've made several films, horror and comedy, after you get through, and maybe this is hard to answer, but with Teegan and His Bros, and then your horror film, is there a type of other project that you'd like to approach that you haven't yet?
That's interesting. I mean, I would love to do science fiction, but that is even more expensive. I feel like I feel like you've got comedy, which can cost nothing if you're just doing funny dialogue or some slapstick, and then you've got horror. If you want some blood or a monster, you're going to go up in cost, and then sci-fi is like the ultimate. Like, you want to be on a different world, aliens. What do you want? I would love to do some sci-fi though. I mean, I've got nothing that's like written or fleshed out yet, because I know I can't make it. Like, I'm very much somebody who writes a thing because I know I can do it. Like, it's hard for me to get inspired for a thing that I would have to push off. I've done it, a few times, but if I'm writing a thing, it really helps me keep going if I know I'm going to be trying to make it after it's done. So it's hard for me to write a sci-fi thing if I don't have the money.
So you also act, as we've talked about that before. In terms of acting, I know you're doing Tegan, but do you see that on the horizon as well, like any other types of characters, or do you audition for other films that aren't your own? Because I know that there's obviously in Austin, there are a lot of auditions happening all the time,
Oh yeah.
whether it's for commercials, for films, whatever the case may be. But are you interested in kind of pursuing acting also in other people's work, or what is your view on that?
Absolutely. And I try to do acting alongside my own stuff, as if I can, a way to pay the bills. But more often it's just trying to get out there where people I know and I'm doing a favor, or whatever the case may be. But I have been in a few well, mostly short films over the last couple of years. One was called Leverage. It was a short film, and I play a sidekick character to a heroin type. Like, she used to be a part of a Russian mafia, but she left it because of reasons. She found her conscience or whatever, and I'm still a part of it. But the short film is about me leaving to go tell her that they have kidnapped her friend named Charlie, and it takes place at Christmas. and I'm dressed like Santa Claus, and I actually have like fight scenes. Like we had to learn choreography, so I had to fight. There's like a really one fight scene that I'm really proud of that I think looks really great. And I'm dressed like Santa, and I'm fighting henchmen, and they're kicking my ass. I'm kicking their ass, and it's just a lot of fun. So I got to do that last year, acting wise, and that's I think in towards the end of its festival run now, and will be online soon. I'm pretty sure. I got out to act in Brian Poiser's new movie earlier this year. It's just one uh, speaking speaking line kind of thing. I get to harass his main character while he's on stage, and yeah, there's other smaller things I can't think of off the top of my head, but I do get to. Oh, I just acted in another short recently where I get to I have a strong feeling about cats getting killed in horror movies. I'm tired of seeing it. There's a lot of people doing it, and like they, for some reason, they think dogs are safe, but cats are okay to just off, and it really bothers me. And this short film came across my desk at the right time because it's about a cat that's getting revenge on the people who torment it. And I'm one of the people, and I get killed by the cat, and I'm just excited about it.
Has when is that going to come out, or what's
So I
the?
just filmed that last week, so it's going to be a minute for that one, but it should start. I would say it's probably going to be starting its festival submissions probably at the end of winter.
Oh, that's cool. I would love to see that. That would be
Yeah,
so funny.
I'll share it with you if I can get a link.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one because I love cats getting angry, and I love
Yes,
Church from Pet Cemetery.
yeah, yes.
He
Give me a
comes
good
back.
horror call. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
So, you've been in Austin for a while and been here with the film industry and, working in the film industry here. Um, what would you say, and we may have talked about this last time, but I'll bring it up again. What is it like out there for you as an indie filmmaker and for others out there, in the Austin landscape? Because I know it kind of ebbs and flows, but are you feeling like there's opportunities? Do you feel like there's, a space for people like yourself, for actors in Austin? I know that the landscape has changed over the years in Austin when it comes to film and music and all of it, just because of different economies and that type of thing. But what would you say is, the atmosphere right now?
That's a good question. I think the industry wide, like nationwide right now, it's kind of slow and feels a little dire to folks because it just doesn't feel like the bigger industry folks want to spend money on new stuff. It's just a lot of previous IPs, a lot of well-known established things. But I think, and Austin's been a little slow too. Like you asked me about my auditions, I have an agent who sends me out for that, and I haven't like I just got an audition for the first time in a month or so, and I usually get a few a month at least. So it's just a little slower right now, and yeah, there's just like a lot of looming. Are strikes going to happen with crew? I don't know if they've resolved that or not. There were the strikes earlier this year, and they finally got what they deserved through it, and now it just feels like they're punishing the industry for wanting to even try to fight for what the artists deserve. But in Austin and specifically, I think it's a good time to be an independent filmmaker because there's let me form my thoughts. There's some studios being built near San Marcos. There's some near Bastrop as well. HBO, Netflix are opening offices here or have opened offices in Austin specifically. And I think there's an opportunity if you can find people, the money people that are not already established with the movie industry, with the new indie filmmakers who are wanting to make good things that are brand new and scary or funny and dramatic. I think once those two find each other again, like in the '90s, the '90s was great for indie film. It was just huge. So I think if we could find that again, if it's going to be in the indie scene, and then the bigger industry will have to follow what they set.
But what I love about what you do and what other, indie filmmakers do is that you are still pushing out those stories, even if it is like, it's not like a 2-hour film, but you're getting the idea out there, you're getting the movie out there. And I think that's really important. And I also think it spurs ideas in other filmmakers. I mean, for you, has that also been the case when you're around, these other filmmakers in Austin and you see maybe their work isn't like it's not the genre you're in, but you kind of see what they're doing and it kind of helps. I don't know if it inspires you or if there's anybody here that has that impact on you.
Oh, for sure. There's a ton of folks in town that I am inspired by, just seeing their films and work ethic. A lot of friends. I don't want to try to list them all, but there's a lot of talented folks here in town who work very hard and are trying to make their stories happen. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I can't help but respect it. So yeah, I'm always inspired. That's why I love going to film festivals. I know you said you haven't really had the opportunity. I highly recommend, if you're able to get to a festival, to check them out, because like you see so many different points of view, so many different works, that you can't help but be inspired. So yeah, it's great. It's a great place to be for that. I will give a shout out to one particular. It's a showcase, really. They call themselves a festival. They're a showcase, a monthly showcase called the ATX Short Film Showcase. Justin, who runs it, he has established this community of people that come every month to see the works. There's 8 movies that play from local filmmakers, and not just in Austin, but in Texas as a whole. And excuse me. And it's just it's really great for networking and finding inspiration.
This is something I like to ask just randomly. What is something people would be surprised to find out about you? Like,
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if this would be surprising to some folks, but maybe if you just see me in my videos, but my deep love of Crocs. I love the Crocs shoe. I have a special pair of Crocs with weed leaves on them. It's my favorite shoes ever. And I have Crocs that match my glasses. I have pink Crocs. I have several. So yeah, I love Crocs. One of my goals, someday I hope to be a Fortnite character and have a pair of Crocs like fashioned after something I've made. Those are my goals.
would you ever do like like a Friday the 13th type slasher kind of throwback to what we saw in the 80s?
Yes. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would try to make it so much of a throwback. I think I do want to do a slasher film, though. I've written 2 like feature length slashers. I'm working on one right now.